Yeah, let's start for today tutorials. So in today's tutorials, we have the 3 questions in part A, 2 the practical exercise in part B. So we're gonna practice about the how to draw the activity diagrams in part B. So part A, just a review question about your lecture slide, lecture note. So we can start from the part A. So number 1. So what is the difference between the functional requirement and the non-functional requirement? So what do you think of? So what's the difference between the functional requirement and non-functional requirement? So system requirement has a couple of the different types. So one is functional, the other one is non-functional. So the functional requirement requirements. So it's something related to the business rule and business process. That's the functional requirement. Business rules and business process. So that's the functional requirement. And the non-functional. So what could be the non-functional requirement? Yeah. Anything. So what could be the non-functional requirement? No one. So non-functional requirement is something else except the functional requirement. They could be the anything. So for example, usability. So of the system. So how to access your system, or what kind of the interface they provide to the client, to the users. So ease of use, yeah, something like that. And also the reliability of the system. Quality of your system. So that could be the failure rate or the recovery, the method of your system that is kind of the reliability, and also the performance and security. Yeah, those features are the non-functional requirement. Does it make sense? The performance. What could be the performance? The factors. The speed of the transitions, the throughput, the response time, the security. This can be the encryption of your data. That is all in the non-functional, the features. Okay? So if you see your lecture slide, you're gonna have these tables. So clearly you can see what is functional, what is non-functional features. The functional features, something like the business, the rule and process, and non-functional, so can be the usability, reliability, performance, and security. Good. Then we can go to the next one, which is number 2. So number 2, so what types of the stakeholders this should include in a fact finding? What type of the stakeholders? External. Yeah, that's good. That's it. Or something more? External. stakeholders. So who is the external stakeholders? Someone who used your system outside of your company. So that is external, the stakeholders, right? So for example, customer can be the external, and also investor, right? And some partner as well. So those are those peoples are the external, the stakeholders. So what is internal? How about the internal? The stakeholders. Some operation, someone, so who working in your company. So operation, people's person. Executive, yeah. The stakeholders.
Team management.
Yeah, the management, the managers, yeah. Yeah, those peoples is the example of the internal, the stakeholders. So in the answers, it must be included both of them, internal and the external as well. Okay? You need both the external and internal. It must be included those the stakeholders. Next.
Excuse me, sir.
Yeah.
Sir, can you show the answer again to number?
All right. Yeah. So
Yes,
yeah, just
thank you.
include both the external and internal, the stakeholders. And this is the example, who is the external stakeholders, the internal stakeholders. Some examples, yeah.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, no worries. Next is number.
Sir. Hello.
Yeah.
Sorry, number 2, do we include both of
Yeah,
the
the both of the stakeholders.
Okay, sir.
Yeah, good. Yeah, number 3. So what are the main functional requirements for the following system areas? So we provide the examples. So one is the stack management system and also the social network system. So yeah, based on those two systems, you can think about you are the project owners. You need to provide some of the functional requirement to the project teams to build the system. So what could be the functional requirement of the stock management system? And the other one is social network. So we just starting with the first one first. So don't worry about the social network. That's the next one. So this time we're gonna discuss about the stock management system. So you are working in the warehouse. So many stocks is coming into the warehouse and going out from the warehouse. So you need to provide some of the function to what is main the business load of this system. So now we starting the new business, the new project. So the functional requirement only focus on the business law, business process. The main things to do in the stock management system. The working is just think about So you are working in the eBay or the Amazon. So in the warehouse. So how did you managing your warehouse, all of the items with all items? Yeah, any ideas? Please, if you have anything you notice, then just type. Send your message to me. So with the chat. So this is the information system. So many people, many users are the access or using this system. You need to have the account to use the system. So now we know who are the login, who are logout, who did what, something like that. So must the user log into the system first. Then the system required the sign-up functions and login functions, logout functions. So need to the management user the account. Yeah, that's the basic the functions of the system, right? And what else? Yeah, think about the business, the stock management. We need to keep record about the purchase of your items, right? So I need to keep record your purchase of the stock or the sales of your stock. You need to managing about the items in a warehouse. Okay. What is? So from the information system, you need to get some of the information. We need to get to some of the reports every quarters, every years. So we need to generate some reports. So what kind of report? For the tax return or the GST. What is? Some of the performance reports. And so on. So those reports must be generated from the system. Does it make sense?
Yes.
Yeah, what is? That's all. You have to think about the more functions for the stock management system and add your features into your reports. Does it make sense? Yes or no? Yes, no. You please say something. Yeah. And then the second, the information system is social network. That's much easier than the first one because you are using you're always using the Facebook, the Instagram, the Twitters, some kind of the application in these days. So for the example of I'm giving you the example. So social network application softwares, the Facebook or the Instagram. What else? The Twitters. Yeah, think about those the applications. So in these applications, so what could be the functional requirement for this one? For the Facebook, Instagram, the Twitters. What are the main functions, the main features of these applications? Hello. Are you there?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yes,
So
sir.
give me some comment. Give me your answers. Yeah, connect people. Connect people. Huh. So more specific. So people. What's the meaning of the connect? What about the always we require to require the login. So use your own credentials to use this application, right? So you also need the same thing. So sign up and login, log out, and the user credentials. So what you do? So with the Facebook, so every day so you posting,
Sharing information.
they're posting something, post some of the video files and images, or some text as well.
Promote
So
both.
in the system development, we call the CLUD. Have you heard about it? What does CLUD stand for? C is create your video, created your message, created your image, created your posting. And R is for read. You can read the post from the other, your friend. Okay, U is update. If you need some changes in your post, you can update your post. So D for the delete as well. Okay, so then we call the CLUD about the posting. Post video, images, text. So you can create it, read, update, and delete. What else? Anything else? What are you doing with the post, the Facebook, Instagram? You did a lot about the making. Just make some comments. So on the post, right? You comment on the post, comment on the comment as well. That's the big, the functional requirement. What else? Also, you can give some rate, a star rate, or the thumbs up, the like, subscription, subscribe, so rating. So rating for the post. So to give some like, to push the like, and the recommend to your friend. Also, we do some of the subscriptions. Subscribe. What the? Yeah. Just any functions. How did you use those applications? Some Facebook. They provide some chatting. The messengers as well. Chat with your friend. That also the functional requirement. Okay? You can add some more into your report. Okay? So did you know?
Total, how many points we need to write?
As many as you can. So there's no restrictions. You can
Into
yeah. So I think the the 5 is enough for your report. It doesn't say about the how many the requirement. So you can put so as you want. Yeah. But you have to think about what is functional, what is non-functional. So non-functional is something like the system parameters, the performance, the speed of the your system, or the security, the user interface, something like that. That is not a functional requirement. Yeah, so just focus on the functional requirement on these examples. Okay, that's all. That's all about the part A. So, any question in part A? 1, 2, 3. Are you clear?
Yes, sir, we are clear.
Good, thanks. Then we move on to part B. So part B is practice about the draw the activity diagrams. So we provide the scenarios. One is I think I'll give you 2 minutes to read it. Just first the given scenarios. So those one. And it's better too. You have to know what is about the scenarios. Then we can discuss about how to draw the activity diagrams. So this is all about developing the activity diagram. Is we need to draw the activity diagrams using some of the tools I will provide for you. So this is the main topics. We need to develop the activity diagrams. So you must know what the scenario is about. So now 26. I'll give you the 2 minutes. So read all these scenarios and think about what is about. So what is about the scenarios? Hello. Yeah, what is about the exercise 1? So one is about some of the shoppings. The customer need to go to the shopping, something like the Urals and the Kohl's, and he wanted to purchase some of the items. Is that right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So, I'm just curious. What is the activity diagrams? You already discussed in the lecture class, right? Yes or no? And the activity diagrams. What kind of the symbols we can use? First thing is we need to type the manager something. Yeah. The customer. That is the headers, so we can represent it for the actors. And the divider underneath the headers. And we started from then, that symbols. What is the symbols? This one is starting activity. Okay? And after then, we are using the, I don't know, there's no, some of the oval. We can call this one is activity symbols. And activities goes to the another activities using the arrow. That is the one. There's a transaction, the arrows. This is transaction arrows. So one symbol goes to the other one. So one activity goes to the other activities. So using this, the transition, the arrows. So after then, at the end of your activity diagrams, you must be finished with those symbols. This one is we call ending activity. Okay. Sometimes they required. So one activity is split into the activities. Something like, so one activity goes into 2 different activities. So in that case, we draw like this. So we call this one in the middle. So this is a synchronized bar. And we call the sync bar for the split. And after then, we can two activities goes to into not all the two or the many activities can be into the one activities. So waiting for the answers from the all activities, and then we can go to the next activities. So this is the split bar and the joining bar. So split bar means one activities is split into the multiple activities. The joining bar is multiple activities becomes into the one activities. Split bar. This one is join bar. Okay. So one more. So we have this one. So this is when we're making decisions. So after making decisions, it depends on the condition. If the condition is truth or the false, it can be truth and false. We go a different way. The first, yes. If the condition is truth, we go to the right hand side. And if the condition is false, then we can go to the straight down to the next activities. So making decision. So decision activities. So using these symbols, then we can draw the scenarios into the activity diagrams. That's what we need to do today tutorials. Any questions?
Can you please repeat it again?
Sorry?
Can you please repeat it again?
Which one?
The whole process in a short, like give me a summary for whole process.
Yeah, we can practice. So those are the symbols. So this is we call headers, yes, the dividers, and all the activity diagram must be start with the starting activities. We start from here, and we have this is just introduce the symbols. We can use these symbols into the activity diagrams.
Okay.
Yeah. So nothing. Just need to remember what kind of symbols we can use. Different diagrams have the symbols we use. So this one is for the activity diagrams.
Okay.
Okay. So I think in the lecture slide, just have a look. Lecture note. You must have some of the explanation about the symbols. Here. So activity diagram symbols. So as I mentioned, this is the name of the headers. It represents for the actors, and just the dividers. This one is starting activity. Those we have to use these symbols. And this one, the activities. Draw the activity diagram for these scenarios. The first you need to do is find who is the actors. What is the activities? So from the sentence, we need to identify who is the actors, who is the activities, what is the activities. So in the first sentence, just analysis one by one sentence and do the next one. The first sentence, the customers wanted to purchase the item. So is there any actors there?
Customer.
Yeah, the customer is the one actors.
Yeah.
Right. So any activities.
Activities is that the customer is purchasing items.
Yeah. So what customer do? But this one is just describe the whole process. So briefly, there's a whole process. The customer wanted to purchase the item, so not specific activities. So go to the next sentence. So the clock, they enter the item ID. So is there any actors?
Clock.
Yeah, clock. Also, can be the actors. And enter the ID. So something need to do for the class. The clock need to enter the item ID, right? And then goes to the next one. The system created the sales ticket.
So that can be activities, yeah.
The system also can be the actors.
Actors.
Yeah, actors can be the people, actors can be the system modules.
Okay.
Okay, the system also, the actors we can see. And after the next, the customer, the pay with the cash, check, and credit card. So actors is customer.
Customer.
So customer, the activity is to pay with cash, pay with and check, pay with the credit card.
Yeah, that means that
Okay.
that is activities. Yeah.
Yeah, there's the activities. So we must describe in the diagrams. The next one is clock. Start a new cash sales. So clock.
Actor.
And the clock, they entered each items at the end indicated the end of the sales. So also the clock is the actors and the rest of them is activities for the clock. The clock enters, clock indicate, right? That's the activities for the clock, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the next one, the clock also indicates the type of the payment. So the customer need to pay, but the clock need to indicate so what type of the payment into the system. Okay, and also enter the information. Those information must be entered by the clock. So clock is the actors. So enter the information is the activities.
Okay.
Okay. Next one is system. The system need to find the item. So in the inventory. So who enter the item? The clock here. Clock enter the item. The system will find some of the data, some of the information from the database. So which is the item price, item, some of these informations from the inventory database. System is actors, and those are the activities from the system. And system also need to add those information into the total, and system need to calculate the total price and process the payment and create the payment transactions. So those activities are done by the system. Okay? So now we know who is actors, what is activities.
Yeah. So how can we create in the figure now?
Yeah, so now we will do. So to drawing the activity diagram, so I will recommend one of the free softwares. That's the online tools.
Draw.io.
Yeah, draw.io. So do you know that? So that's the good software to draw any of the system diagrams. So just open the web browsers and go to the draw.io. So the lecturers mention about this website. Does he mention about that? So in draw.io, so you can use this one for free.
Mm-hmm.
So when we access the draw.io, so it redirects to this website URL. Don't worry about that. In this page, you can draw.io. Then you can create new diagrams. Create the new diagrams. Open the existing one, but this time you create the new diagrams and choose the blank one. So, but before we choose the blank one, you're making the name of your diagrams. So this time is I'm just naming ICT103. So this is the activity diagram. Okay, just naming as you want and create. So with the blank diagrams. It may have the same names. Okay. So it's naming following ICT. You can ICT103, and this is activity diagram. Yeah. Save it. So this file will be saved into your PC. So if you log in, if you have access to this website, so on the left hand side, it provides all the symbols you need. So the general symbols here, you can just have a one by one. So this is something else advanced, but most of the symbols you need is under the UML. So UML is stand for the Unified Modeling Languages. So the software developers are using the UML to making the all diagrams, the use case, sequence diagram, or the activity diagrams, all symbols. Most of the symbols you can find from the under the UML sections. Okay. Then we can start through the activity diagrams with the scenarios. So we analyzed. I'm just bring this one.
Customer, clock, and the system.
Yeah. So we found three.
Main actors.
Yes, main actors. But we can just do the one sentence by one sentence. Yeah, first one. The customer wanted to purchase the item. So there's no activities there, but the one actors. So we need to create it. So in this case, we have some titles. Yes. So click the title. So title must be customer. So name of the actors. Okay. So underneath we need dividers. So you can choose anything. Yeah, dividers. And extend to the end. Yeah. That's for the customer. And then nothing else for the first sentence. Goes to the next one. The clock need to enter the item ID. So in this case, we have the new actors, which is clock, right? So we need to create another actors, which is clock. And clock need to enter the item ID. So clock, that's the activity for the clock, right? So if you move this one, yeah, this one, the activity symbols, right? Activity, and click the one, and so the activity, what is the activities? Activity is enter the item ID. Yeah, just use the same phrase, the same verb, same the nouns. It's easy to understand. But where did you get the item IDs? So this is kind of the shoppings. The customer need to bring some of the item into the cashiers, right? That's the starting point of the activity diagrams. So we can start from the customer. So this is the starting activities I mentioned, and the customer will be what the customer need to do. Yeah. So customer need to bring the items. So
why that black point for?
The black one is just starting activities of your diagrams.
So customer,
yeah,
if the customer starts activities, so we need to put that black
black
diagram.
Who is initiated of these actions? So always this one is starting from the customer. The customer initiate. So those modules. So you can just draw the arrow to. So we can start from here. The customer need to bring the item, and the item goes to the clocks. Clock need to enter the item ID. That's the way we done so far. And what's the next?
System creates a sales ticket.
Yeah. But something else.
Another.
After the clock entered the items, and the system need to find some of the information, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So we do this one. We can create this another one, which is system. After that, system need to define the sum. So find the item, the information from the inventory, and display So price or the some of the description and descriptions. So if the clock entered, then goes to the system. System will find the items. And what's next? Display the information and add to the totals. So add to the list of the sales. Yeah, delete add to total. Okay, add to total, right? So what else? Then what's the next? In this one, the clock entered all item, but what if the customer can bring the one item or the multiple item? So how did you calculate the totals? So you scan the one items into the system, and the next one and third one, the first one, and the last one, and then we get the total, the list of the all item with the totals price, right? That's how we do. Then, so this one is not only the one iterations, it can be the multiple iterations in this process. So you must do solve the totals, do some making some of the loop. So this is, so here's the clock need to indicate the time, indicate the end of the sales. Yeah, clock enter each item, so that at the end, so indicate the end of the sales. The clock need to indicate end of the sales. So after we do finishing all this one, okay. But this one, enter, find, add, enter, find, add. So if you have the many items, so we do those loop, right? Enter the one item, find the one item information, add to the totals, and another items. So this one is, it could be the loop. We need to make some loop. Then I will use that one and rotate that one. So how we can, this is how we can make the loop. So that's for each item. So one item we do that way, and that's the finish. So copy, paste, and this is and for each. So we're making loop for the scanning for each items. So one item, find information, add. So does it make sense? That's the loop. And after the finishing the end of sales, and what we need to do, and the system need to calculate the total price. So we got the total, the sales, and need to calculate. Calculate total price and display. All right. And what we need to do. So we got the total price. After them, the customer need to pay for the, but there are the three different options for the payment. So it can be the cash or the check. What is the other one? Is credit card. Yeah, there are the three options. The customer need to select which payment options they will do, they will use. So the next thing is about the payment selections. select the payment. So that can be cash, check, and credit card. Okay, that's the next one. So after we get the total points, and we need to ask the customer, need to select the payment, and so we need to do the after then the clock indicate the type of the payment. So clock will enter the information for so payment the method. So indicate for payment method. Okay. Then what's next one? So lastly, the system will process the payment and create the payment transactions. So process payment. Next on the payment. Transaction. Yeah, that's the end of the activity diagrams, right? So at the end, you must put the end symbols. So after that, this one is end for the activity diagrams. So we describe the all the actors, the customer, clock, system. So one missing is we call the swim line. So between the actors, between the headers. So I think just to go to the general and so choose the one line, just a simple line. So separated by the headers. So we know so now we know which activities are that belong to which actors. So bring the item by the customer. So select the payment for the customers. So the between the clock and system, we also need to some of the separator. That one. So that's what we call the swim line. So between the actors. So we easily see which activities belong to which actors. Okay, that's for the first given scenarios. Customer, clock, the systems. Yeah, someone asked me. Yes, so please use the same symbols. So if you use the different symbols, this is kind of the languages between the developers, between the system development. So you must follow the rules.
To finish.
Yeah.
So we also need to put that that black dot.
This is end activities for this one. So
For
we can start from the
the
beginning, the starting activities. So how we can start initiate for these sections. So the customer must bring some of the item. That's the starting point.
All right.
Yeah, and then so we can finish in the system actors. So the system will process everything and give the payment transaction to the client. That's the end of the activities. End the activities.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah. Any questions?
Can you explain when we use that black line for each item?
For each items. So this is making the full loop. So not only the one time. So think about the customer can bring the multiple items. So you can some people just bring the one items, or some people's more 5 or the 10 items to the cashiers, right? So in this case, we need to do some of the making some loop. The scanning and add to the totals, or we can just scan another one and
So it is
another one in the
basically
same. Yeah.
So it is basically for the multiple item.
Yeah, the multiple item. If they have the multiple item, so we do the for loop.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Okay. Any other questions?
No, sir. All good.
Okay, good. Then, so we can go to the next items. So which is number 2. So number 2 is about the car insurance company. So the customer need to enter some of the car information or driver information into the insurance. And the insurance have the many different policies. So you can change some policy. We can put some more the coverages. It should be to change the different policies we can get from the companies. Okay, that's the scenario is about. Okay, so we can draw the activity diagrams with them. You think about the process, the business. So you are the one of the client in the NRMA. So the get into the NRMA office. So how did you get the policies for your car? That's the same scenarios. Okay. Just analysis. So who is the actors? What is the activities first for each sentence? Yeah. Then make it easy for during your diagrams. So the first one. So the customer provided the car information. The customer is actors. Good. And customer need to request the coverage with amount. So how much coverage with how much money. So identify the drivers. So you can how many the drivers. So if you have the new drivers into the next policies, we need to add the drivers into the policy. So think about the car information, the coverage, and drivers. The system. So need to update some of the policy because we put the more information into there. The system need to update the policy. We also have the clock here. Clock need to enter the customer information, and system need to find some of the policy or the display the details in the clock. To verify some of the policy is correct, and the clock also enter some of the car information, car ID. So ID information, the system need to validate that the car is the car has known the standard car with the standard, and clock enter so each type of the coverage. So which means each type, that means it could be the multiple times we need to do. So one coverage and go to the different type of the coverages. You can many the types of the coverage we have. So the clocks need to multiple times for these sections. So we can use the 4 iterations, the 4 loops for this sentence as one. So including the deductible and the coverage amount, then system. What? Oh, what happens? It's gone. Everything. Alright. What is undo? Undo. I made a mistake. Yes, sorry. Let's just quickly done. Number 2. So just only the highlight for the actors. System clock. System need to find the policies. Clock verify the policies current. As clock entered those the actors. So these are activities. So actors and activities, including deductible coverage, system as actors, the validate coverage request, and clock. Indicated all coverage has been entered. System does combination of the validation on policy. So clock invoked to add a new person. So use case necessary. So if there's a new the persons, new drivers, so we need to add the new persons. If there's no, so we can't do that. We don't need to do that. So that is decisions, so activities. It depends on the if there are so new drivers, we can add the new persons. If it doesn't have any new drivers, we don't need to do that. So that's the decision activities. So next one is the clock. Change the driver percentage on his car. So that the system updated driver information on the clock indicate everything is complete. The system is updated the policy and calculated the premium and printed the new statement. So that's the one. So now we can start with these informations. Also go to the draw the layer. So we can create the new diagrams with the new tabs. So page 1 can create another pages with the click the plus signs, insert the new page, and bring our scenarios there. Yeah. Yeah. So first, so we need to create the actors. So with title, I said the most of the symbols under the UML. So unified the modeling languages. That's for system development. So we have the titles for the header. So the first one is customer. Customer. So and then we need divider. So underneath the customer can divide with the headers with the activities. The first. So how we can start? So always this time also start with the customer. Customer need to provide the car information, right? So we can start from the customer. And the first activities and customer need to provide the car information. Yeah, we start from here. The first activities is car, the information. And then request. Yeah, this information, the clock entered the customer information. So the clock, the customer provide the information. The clock need to enter the information into the system. So we need to create another headers, that is clock. Clock need to enter the customer information. Enter customer information. Then what's the next? The system define some policy and display the detail to the clock, right?
The system updating the policy.
Yeah. So the next one is system. The system need to define the policy and display the information details. Display, yeah. Okay. Then for this, enter display the clock. Then the clock need to verify the policy is current. So it goes to the clock. Clock need to, where is, here, yeah. So clock verify the policy is current. So I need to verify the policy. And then clock enter the car information, car identification information. So the next thing, enter car ID information. But where the clock get this information? So car ID information must be provided by the customer. Okay, the customer need to provide that information into the clock. So provide car ID. And after that, we need to go the customer again. The customer need to car ID. So get the car ID and enter this information into the system, and then system. So the verified the car is sent out. Yeah. The next thing, the system, the validate car with standard. So car ID, get this information and check the standard. And clock enter each type of the coverage customer the request. And customer requested some of the coverages, so then the clock need to enter each type of the coverages. Okay. Then goes the client request. So the coverage and the amount. Okay. So because the here's where is it? Yeah, the clock. So enter each type of the coverage the customer requests. So customer requests some of the coverage with the amount. So this one goes to the customer request, and then the clock need to enters. So need to enters each type of the coverage. Yeah. Then the clock need to enter coverage. And what's next? Amount. And the system need to validate the coverage request. Yes, the system need to validate. So the coverage. Right. What's next? And clock into the all coverage has been entered. So what clock need to do? Clock needs to indicate all coverage. Yeah. Complete all coverages. then so this time so the customer requests the many different type of the coverages. So the cloud enters the one by one, then checking the validation of the coverage. So that could be the multiple times. So each of the coverage we checked by the systems. So in this case we need to do some the loop. So loop can be used that one. So that for each this time for each the coverage. Okay, and from here to there. So the loop can be finished here. So this time the end each coverage, each for each. Okay, because we need to enter the each the coverages by the clock and complete all, then so the clock need all coverage has been entered, and then the system does combination validation policy. The system goes to this one is goes to the system. So validate combination coverage. Okay, almost. So what's next? And the clock invoke the persons. So if there's the new users, new drivers, then we need to add the new drivers. If it doesn't, then we don't need to do that. So we need to ask the client. So if they are the new users, then we need to use the symbols for making decisions. Yeah, that one, decision choice. So we use that one. So new driver. New driver or new persons, new person, new driver. Then any new drivers. Then yes, then we need to enter. If yes, we need to add new driver. So only yes. If it is no, then we just straight down to the next one. So add the new drivers. Then we go. What's the next one? Yeah. So add the new drivers. The next thing is clock change the driver percentage on this cars and others. So what's the meaning? This one. So in my the insurance, so I registered to the persons, my wife and myself, and so I in my car, so I drive the 80% of the car I use, and the 20% by my wife. So it depends on that. The percentages we have the different the policies we can get. So this one is something like that one. So we need to provide the names with the percentages. So if you know, so provide so name with the percent. If there is no drivers, just straight out to and the provide. So we can do multiple times. So So the Brian used the 80% and my wife is used the 20%, something like that. If we have the more people, we can provide the more names. That also there can be the loop process. Okay. So this one is close to the clocks. Clock need to enter this information. So enter. So name and the percent and update. So update the system. Update the driver information. So update the policy. System indicated everything is covered. The system updated driver information and clock indicated. The system need to update the policy and calculate the premium. So that's the last one. We need to calculate the new premium and print the statement. So let's skip the last one. Yeah, last. Update the policy and calculate. So the premium and print the statement. So you can separate these sections into the activities. You just put it together. You can just save the areas. So that's the end of the diagrams. So at the end we have to use end activities. So you can finish with the cloud, they finish with the system, it doesn't matter, it's up to you. Alright, so I just said, so this is the loop. So we need to provide one and add the updated drivers, and another person provide. So this one is I use the one. So this one is for loop as well. So in this one is for each name. And this one is and for each. Okay. And then lastly, we need to make it separate between the headers, between the actors. So using this line on the generals. One, and another one between the clock and system. Alright, I think that's all for this one. You can make some different ways, but mostly follow all these scenarios. So it could be something like with me, or you can make some the process different the flows. Okay.
Sir, can you show number 1 diagram?
Number 1, yeah. So this is for the number 1. So number 1 is, so we have the customer, clock, and system. The customer need to bring, that's the starting activities, and we need to scan all items. And this is total if you see the receipt, you have all the list, yeah. So all the item list on your receipt. So that's the one. And after that, we need to calculate the total price, and the customer need to select the payment way, and then enter which payment they are using, and just process for the payment. Okay, that's for the first one.
Yeah. Why do we have loop there, sir?
Sorry,
Again.
which one?
Why do we have loop there? Can you say it again?
Looped one?
Yeah, loop. For each coverage.
Each covers, yeah, that is, yeah, came from the under the UML. So you can use some other symbols, but I use that, yeah, the one, the join and poke. So use that one, and we can rotate the symbols. So horizontal and vertical, so you can, yeah, use that one. And use these symbols for for each loops.
So why do we use that? So
Because customer can be bring the multiple items, not only the one items. So not only the scanned every time at a time, every items at a time. So you can just scan one by one. So you scan the one, and the system will check the database to find the information and add to a total. And then we can scan another items. Does it make sense? If you bring the 3 items in a course, how did you scan your item for the payment? You just
3 times.
Scan one and it shows on the screen, and you can scan another one, it shows on the screen, and add to the total, right? And the lastly, you for the final items you scan, you got the total price of your shoppings. So that's the same things.
Okay, so thank you.
Yeah. Thank you. Next. Any other questions?